All right, let's talk about the car dashboard. It's the heart of the modern vehicle experience. But for years, actually building that experience has been, well, a bit of a nightmare. Slow, clunky, frustrating. But that's all about to change. Today, we're diving into a completely new strategy for in-vehicle infotainment, or IVI. It's a massive shift away from being chained to physical hardware and moving towards a future that is built entirely in the cloud. Let's get right into it.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we need to understand the old way of doing things and why it's so broken. Then, I'll walk you through a powerful three-pillar solution that fixes it. And to wrap things up, we'll lay out a concrete, actionable blueprint that you can use to put these ideas to work.
If there's one single idea to take away from this, it's this quote right here. The game has totally changed. It's not about stuffing the most features into a car anymore. The real currency now is speed. How fast can you innovate? How quickly can you get your ideas into the vehicle without being locked into one specific piece of hardware? This idea is the key to absolutely everything we're about to discuss.
Okay, so let's start by digging into the problem. We're calling this the old world, and honestly, it's built on a foundation of sand. And that foundation is a total, crippling dependency on physical hardware.
Does this sound familiar to you? Why does it feel like every single IVI project is constantly behind schedule? I mean, it's a story as old as time in this industry, right? You can't start coding because you're waiting for hardware that's late, you're fighting for time on a limited number of super expensive test benches, you're basically set up to fail before you've even written a single line of code.
Let me show you the difference in a nutshell. The traditional way, on the left, it's like a one-lane road during rush hour. Everything gets stuck in a traffic jam behind the hardware. The new way, on the right, is a multi-lane superhighway. Your software teams can start building on day one, running in parallel, completely independent of the hardware schedule. This whole idea of shifting left is just a way of saying we're doing things smarter, earlier, and a whole lot faster.
So how do we actually get onto that superhighway? Well, that brings us to our first pillar, our first big idea, a virtual first mandate. This means we're not just dabbling in the cloud, we're moving the entire development environment there. And trust me, this isn't some small adjustment. It's a fundamental change in how we think about building automotive technology.
Now you might be wondering, how does this actually work? Well, here's the secret sauce, a concept called bit parity. In the bad old days, you'd build software on your Intel-based laptop, then try to port it over to the ARM-based chip in the car, and it was a disaster. All sorts of weird bugs. But now, with cloud services like AWS Graviton, we can develop on an ARM architecture in the cloud that is identical to the ARM chip in the vehicle. That means the code you write in the cloud is a perfect bit-for-bit match for the car itself. It's a true digital twin.
And look, virtualization isn't some all-or-nothing deal. You can get really granular with it. But for most IVI projects, there's a real sweet spot, and that's what we call Level 3. It gives you the absolute perfect blend of development speed and testing accuracy. It means your teams can build, test, and validate almost the entire application without ever needing to see or touch a physical piece of hardware. It's a game changer.
Okay, so Pillar 1 solves our hardware problem. Fantastic. But what about the people problem? Pillar 2 is all about ending that age-old tug-of-war between the designers and the engineers. We're going to completely decouple the look and feel of the HMI, the user interface, from the underlying code that makes it all work.
Think about it like this. You build one single, rock-solid application codebase. Just one. This contains all the critical business logic, all the hooks into the vehicle's data systems. You build it once, you make it stable, and then you can pretty much leave it alone.
And this is where the magic happens. Once that solid foundation is in place, your UI/UX team can create an infinite number of designs using a tool they already love, like Figma, a sporty theme for one car, a luxury theme for another, maybe a minimalist theme for a third, all without the engineering team ever having to recompile or rewrite a single line of code. It's incredible.
And this isn't science fiction. A bunch of new technologies make this possible today. You've got tools like Google's Design Compose that can automatically turn Figma designs directly into native code. And the real key is a concept called design tokens. Think of them as a shared language for design. They're just variables for colors, font, spacing, but they create a single source of truth so designers and engineers are finally on the exact same page.
All right, so Pillar 1 freed our developers from the hardware. Pillar 2 freed our designers from the developers. Now our third and final pillar is about achieving true freedom, freeing our software from being tied to any specific vehicle platform. This is how we build software that can truly run on any car, anywhere.
So the key piece of the puzzle here is something called the Vehicle Hardware Abstraction Layer,
or VHAL for short. The best way to think of the VHAL is as a universal translator. Your application simply asks for vehicle speed in a standard way. The VHL does all the messy work of figuring out how to get that specific signal from that specific car's network. Your app stays clean. It doesn't need to know or care about the underlying complexity.
And it gets even better. When you combine the VHL with an industry standard like the Covesa Vehicle Signal Specification, or VSS, you create a universal dictionary for all car data. Suddenly, applications become instantly portable. You can literally build an app once and deploy it across different models, different brands, your entire portfolio. The time and money you save on integration is just massive. It's the holy grail. Write once, deploy anywhere.
Okay, we've laid out the 3 strategic pillars. The vision is clear. But vision without execution is just hallucination, right? So now, let's get down to brass tacks. Here is a 4-step blueprint, a call to action to make this new world a reality. First things first, you have to implement a virtual first policy. This has to be a mandate, not a suggestion. All new projects kick off in the cloud, period. Waiting for hardware is no longer an acceptable reason for a delay. And let's set a hard target. 80% of your application logic should be validated in the cloud before the first physical hardware sample even arrives.
Second, you have to completely restructure the HMI workflow. Establish a single, unified design system built on those design tokens we talked about. And you have to be strict. Forbid hard-coding any design values. Every color, every font, every pixel of spacing must reference a token. This eliminates the tedious, soul-crushing pixel pushing and frees up your brilliant engineers to focus on complex problem-solving.
Third, it's time to speak a common language. You've got to abandon all those proprietary internal signal names and definitions. Adopt an industry standard like Covesa VSS as the one and only source of truth for vehicle data. The strategic benefit here is enormous. Your core applications like media and navigation become seamlessly portable across your entire vehicle lineup.
And finally, number 4, you have to invest in testing smarter, not just harder. That means building out a robust continuous integration and testing pipeline in the cloud. You can leverage the cloud's elasticity to run thousands of tests in parallel, or run stability tests for days on end. You can achieve a level of quality and robustness that is literally impossible when you only have a few physical test benches to work with.
So there you have it, a new strategy, a new blueprint, a new way of thinking about building in-vehicle infotainment. Look, this is a big cultural shift, there's no doubt about it, but it's absolutely essential. The future of the automobile is being written in software, and the companies that truly embrace this cloud-native, decoupled approach are going to be the ones who win. The only question left is your team ready for this revolution?